Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app, use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Happy Wednesday, Bears fans. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr.
Let's go.
You know, it's really great to be here today, Adam, and good to see you.
Mark's mad about my birthday comment I made on Twitter.
No,
because somebody said, we got to celebrate Carm's birthday because his friends don't celebrate his birthday. And I said, well, you only celebrate your 70th birthday once. So we'll make sure we do it up big.
When is Carm's? When is his birthday?
Do
we know?
We don't know.
August something.
August. Oh,
August.
Why are we talking about Carm's birthday? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's Casey's birthday.
It's a big plan.
Casey's birthday.
It was Hoge's birthday on Sunday.
It was Hoge's birthday.
Hoge's birthday Sunday, Casey's birthday today.
Carm's the first person to acknowledge it on Wednesday. Good job, Carm. Thank you.
I had no idea.
Means a lot to me.
Had no idea.
I didn't know either. Happy birthday.
Hoge doesn't do Facebook. Hoge doesn't say anything, and then Hoge just comes over the top on the morning call this morning, being like, "Anybody gonna wish me a happy birthday?" I mean,
well, it was mainly because Casey was getting.
I know you were jealous.
Like a 7 a.m.
scheduled
message from
Casey
Lawrence on
happy
Slack.
Birthday twice.
It was like 8.
You're one of those people that doesn't.
Sunday.
You're one of those people that doesn't want to let anybody know about your birthday, but then complains when you don't get any love for your birthday.
No. That's not.
Yes, that's totally accurate. That's exactly
no.
what
Because if that was the case, I would have done that Monday. Also, wait a minute. Let me be clear. There was one person at CHGO that not only reached out but texted.
Herb Lawrence?
Wasn't even just like a Facebook post, right? No. Corey Wooten.
Oh.
Our guy. So I don't want to hear about how you have to go to Facebook to know whose birthday. I don't know how.
How the hell did Woot find out?
No idea, but he knew. He knew.
And
that's a wildcat
Corey
right there for you.
Wooten will be at our draft party next Thursday and Friday, 2 nights.
If we don't see you there, we're going to be disappointed. $60 to get in the door. That covers your drink ticket.
Come wish Adam Hoge a happy birthday.
You can come wish Hoge a happy birthday at Joe's Bar, 940 West Weed Street. April 27th, April 28th. Those are separate tickets. Premium drinks will be available. Braggs will be drinking them. And Goose Island, of course, will be premiumly going down as well. So it's going to be an awesome time.
Yeah, we can't wait. We're going to be there. Tickets starting at $60. You get a shirt, the shirt that Carm is wearing today.
Oh, that shirt. It's a good shirt.
Although I would clarify, it is short sleeves.
Yeah, it doesn't have a hoodie underneath it.
Over a hoodie right now.
It's very 90s, that look that Carm is bringing back. I'm okay with it.
Really? They don't know people in the...
No one does that anymore.
No one does that anymore?
No.
And he was saying it's 90, not your 90, that from the 90s.
The 1990s,
I thought he was saying he was 90.
There's really...
Yeah.
Is this show over?
I'm with Rob Schwartz in the comments. Once you turn 35, we don't need to know about your birthday.
I disagree. Every year every spin around the planet, you get love as far as I'm concerned. But right.
See, I'm more of a daily. I want to give you love every day.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Why's it got to be once a year?
Yeah.
Okay, Hoge, start the show. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. We are breaking down interior D linemen today on the show. Been going through all these positional groupings. Appreciate all the feedback on the show yesterday with the corners. Went through a lot of them. We're technically doing our top 5, but we're taking it farther beyond that when we can. And yesterday, I think we got through 10. So a lot of interior defensive linemen on our Bears 100 board, which we're officially unveiling next week. We also have a 2-round mock draft coming up for you on Monday's show, which I was, doing the lottery style picks right before the show using our NFL Blitz game, and Carm completely ignored the entire thing.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was a thing until I realized that it was a thing. I thought you were just playing the actual video game, not doing stuff. So I apologize for my lack of.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We're good. All right.
Very creative by you. Good idea.
Speaking of creative, right off the top, number one on our list,
This is creative. Would you like me to read his introduction?
Yes, I would. I hope that you put as much work into this today as you did yesterday.
I did, although I kind of like this today's better for various reasons. But yes, number one on our board.
Who is it?
The man that we've been talking about. That's right, Jalen Carter. This man dunked in the 5th grade when Greg Bragg was still sucking his thumb. Widely considered the most talented player in the draft. You probably were. This Georgia Bulldog has missed games. People don't talk about this for both knee and ankle issues, and was also involved in what everybody talks about, the street racing incident that was initially reported on during the NFL Combine. Carter has seen his draft stock drop due to maturity issues and now slowly climb back up the draft board as NFL draft evaluators fall back in love with his talent all over again. Compared to Zion Williamson on the basketball court, who Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley birthed. Yes, that's right. This dude has also participated in weightlifting competitions, Adam Hoge. Jalen Carter could lift a brick with his pinky while Braggs has to use his entire body. Number one on the CHGO defensive tackle board, the talented, enigmatic, disruptive potential Bear, Jalen Carter. Oof, like it.
Potential Bear.
He's a potential Bear, just like everybody else in this. But he's been tied to him so much, I had to throw it in there.
All right. Yes, this has been a tricky one, but I still consider him to be probably the most dominant prospect in the draft. Perhaps highest ceiling, but obviously all the off the field questions are something we have been talking about. And if we're being honest, even before that legal situation arose with the car accident, there were already some questions in NFL circles about the focus on football, his maturity level, and how he might fit in the locker room. Now, I did think it was interesting in Dane Brugler's draft guide, there was a nugget in there that his teammates love him.
Quiet,
but
yeah,
he's it's not like he's a distraction in the locker room. It seems like, but. There's been debates about. First of all, there hasn't been a prospect debated more than Jalen Carter. So it's just like how much you want to go into it. There's some people. Even yesterday, there was some more smoke on some podcasts about his motor doesn't always run. I think when it's running, it's running. Like he plays with that motor and mean that you hear Matt Eberflus talk about. I think that there have been some times where you're wondering why it doesn't always go, and I think that might actually be more of a product of snap counts and how much he's actually playing within the game, which is a fair question if you can't play the whole game. But usually these defensive tackles don't play every single snap.
And maybe score the game too. Like, I mean, Georgia's obviously having some battles, but I'm sure there's a good handful of games where they're beating the crap out of their opponent, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he's not going full tilt in those games.
In my notes that you can read in our draft board, and when you click on Jalen Carter's name, that is available for anybody who is a CHGO diehard. You can sign up, allchgo.com/diehard. I wrote in here, he moves like a linebacker in a defensive tackle's body. And if he arrives to the NFL with a desire to be the best defensive tackle in the league, there's no doubt he can be. That's really how high the ceiling is. Plus, I can't ignore the fact that he can punt the football. So, that's really the clincher.
If we're going to throw everything in there, the dude has had 21 plays as an offensive player.
Yeah, they used him as a blocker. Like, think Akeem Hicks on offense a few years ago, that fun Matt Nagy season that did happen.
He caught a touchdown pass. He's killed people coming out of there. I don't think about Akeem Hicks. I think about the refrigerator. That's right. I go because, as the more mature person on the show, I remember when William Perry was doing stuff like that back in the day. So this is a preposterous athlete. Just think about what I put in that intro. He dunked as a 5th grader.
You didn't do that?
Did you know anybody, seriously, have dunking as a 5th grader? Who is this guy? Like, that's insane.
Right. And now he's 314 pounds.
Right,
so
right.
He was dunking as a 5th grader.
And, I think what's interesting that you called out this morning, Adam Hoge, the Drew Rosenhaus, HBO Real Sports, allowed to interview Jalen Carter because they're just showing how Drew Rosenhaus is able to elevate his clients even when trouble has befelled them. And there he is. He's, if you haven't seen the clip, he's sitting at home. He's with his parents. He's answering questions. He comes across fine, I would say. And he acknowledges that, yes, indeed, what happened as far as the racing incident, it probably will impact my draft stock. So he's not, he's acknowledging at least a little bit the impact of what happened on his current life. I don't know. He came across fine. I don't know what your opinion on that whole thing was.
Yeah, I mean, the portion of the actual interview with Jalen Carter was almost nothing. I mean, it was like, have teams been asking you? Yeah, a couple teams have.
Yeah, every single team.
All of them have.
Every single team has asked me.
The piece, and it's interesting to watch, but it's more about Drew Rosenhaus, and that was fascinating to watch. I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but they literally show him when he called Adam Schefter to put it out there that Jalen Carter's only going to visit top 10 teams.
Hey, Adam, it's Drew. I want to give you something. Yeah, we're not talking to everybody outside of number 10. Can you just tweet that to your 10 million followers for us? Yeah, great. That's how this works.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works. It was very interesting to see that from that standpoint.
I mean, to me, Jalen Carter is, I think, the only guy that could fall to 9 that you could convince me. I mean, you can make the argument that the Bears can't pass on him. I understand why some would, but to me, he is the only guy out of the 10 to 14 players that we are seriously considering the Bears taking at 9. I think he is the one that you could say you cannot pass on this guy. But as we talked about on After Dark, I just think there's 3 criteria he has to meet when he had talked to Eberflus and Poles. 1, his accountability in the racing incident and those questions of how he's going to bounce back from that. 2, importantly on the field, his love for the game. Matt Eberflus talks about wanting guys that have a love for the game, not just the business end of it. And then 3, when they look at his tape, Matt Eberflus is going to show him, these are the grades I'm going to give you a loaf on. How are you going to play better to not get that kind of a grade when you're on my team? If he answers all 3 of those questions with conviction to Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles, they're going to draft him. But if in that interview process they didn't like what they were hearing, they're going to pass.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple.
Here's a super chat from Zach Ferguson, $9.99. Appreciate it, man. He says, I'd be ecstatic if Chicago drafts JC, but Flus and company will have a lot of explaining to do. Play on the field and his poor pro day performance don't seem to jive with hits. Bear down. I'd push back a little bit on the play on the field because I actually do think, and I touched on this a few minutes ago, I do think when he's going, he fits that motor and mean, which is really the acronym that I think, which, if you're going to pick from the grab bag of Flus acronyms, I think that's the one I would pay attention to specifically for these linemen. And I think he does play with it. I think it's just the questions that, and you did a really good job there, Braggs, of like kind of putting it into almost taking us what it was probably like inside his visit at Howell's Hall. Like, how are you going to fit specifically in what we do here? Are you going to respond to it, in a positive way? And really, it comes down to that love of football.
Right.
Which it really does with all these players.
Right.
But,
because Eberflus said that at the combine.
Yeah.
That is his number 1 criteria for players.
And let's just be honest here. We don't get close enough to these prospects to know that. It's as much of a guessing game as it kind of is for these teams. It's even more for us. And that should be spelled out and be transparent as we, you even look at our big board and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, with everything we know and putting it all out there, this guy back in January was my number 1 prospect.
Right.
And now the Bears have the 9th pick. They don't have the number 1 pick anymore. And with that 9th pick, knowing they've already acquired a future first-round pick and more, and DJ Moore, literally more, I'm okay taking this chance at 9. If he's still on the board at 9, not only is he my number 1 interior defensive lineman, but we got in our own draft room yesterday and debated where he should fall on the overall board, and we'll unveil this next week. But there's a good chance he would be right there as the top available guy. And I would make the pick. I still would do it.
And the question, of course, is will the Bears do it? And they've met with him. You talked to Dane Brugler yesterday from The Athletic, who doesn't think he's going to get past 9, which that's according to who Dane's talking to, which means either the Bears are going to take him or somebody's going to trade up with the Bears to take him at that point if he indeed falls that far.
Right.
So,
because that's the question. Because when I said if he's at 9, he's one of those guys, maybe the only guy that you could argue you have to take at 9. He's also one of, I think, 2 or 3 guys with the 2 quarterbacks, Richardson and Levis. If he does fall to 9, he fits the criteria of teams that would be willing to give up a lot to move up to get him. So a team like the Steelers, which has been reported, if he falls to 9 and the Steelers come with a pretty aggressive offer, how strongly do you feel about Jalen Carter, or would you rather just take the picks and then maybe take one of these other defensive tackles that we're going to talk about?
Well, this is where the conversation, to me, is very interesting, going back to Drew Rosenhaus. So this decision that Drew Rosenhaus made to not allow his client to go visit any teams outside the top 10. So all this smoke you're hearing about there, I don't really understand even where it's coming from, but this idea that the Steelers might trade up for Jalen Carter. Well, they haven't been able to visit with him. And since, whatever conversations happened at the Combine, maybe there's other virtual Zoom calls that Rosenhaus is letting him do. I don't know. But there was a question earlier in the comments, how concerned are you about his pro day from Rob? Any concern with his pro day performance and being overweight? Hell yeah. Honestly, of all these things that have popped up, that's sort of number one on my list. I'm like, you showed up 9 pounds heavier than at the Combine and couldn't finish your drills. That's a huge red flag to me. Now, we found out the very next day his legal situation got resolved. Okay, so how much was that a distraction? Was he not able to get in the gym on a daily basis like all these other prospects have been doing, wherever they're training in LA, Florida, wherever it might be? Probably. But so if you're the Bears, then were able to bring Jalen Carter to Hallis Hall after that. And so what was his weight that day? Right. What did he look like that day? Did he get things back in line? The Bears are one of those teams that has that answer. But by not visiting all the teams outside the top 10, that's a heck of a gamble. Because what if he doesn't get picked in the top 10? How much uncertainty then is there? That's when you almost start to wonder, is there a huge fall from that point on because these other teams don't know?
That's a potential. I'd be incredibly surprised if that happened, that he literally fell like a rock from there. I don't think what's getting enough mention with him, though, look, missed 2 games because of an MCL sprain in his left knee. That was in October of this past season, all right? He's missed parts of other games with ankle injuries. So we're talking about a dude who has maturity issues, who has motor discussions, and who has not been and now has weight issues going up and down here. And we're talking about somebody who's been banged up and missed time. I don't know, man. Like that makes me a little like what's the word? Your something, your availability is your something, whatever I'm talking
best
about.
Ability.
Yeah.
Your availability is your best ability.
Yeah. And so if
you know who you just quoted?
Who?
John Fox.
I love you, John Fox. You're my guy. Always have been. Great
or
coach.
every football coach ever.
Bring it back. Look, I just think it's worth noting that this guy has not been able to stay on the field as well. So throw that in there.
Well, I mean, if he
not fair, 2 games MCL.
Yeah,
no.
2 games in his whole college career.
He missed other games with ankle injuries.
Okay.
I mean, everyone gets hurt. It's football.
Well, I mean, I think the other aspect of it is this was
not like he's Eloy. Shout out to the Sox.
Why'd you have to go there? I was in a good mood.
Well, and obviously the other aspect of it is if he showed up to his pro day in peak physical condition and he had no, bangs on his resume, he'd be taken in the top 3. and the Bears would have no chance of getting him at 9. So while these are some red flags, those red flags may be the reason that he falls to 9, which could work out for the Bears if they draft him and he's able to rectify those red flags.
Well, and that part of it to me is also interesting. Like if the Steelers, that's a perfect spot for him because Mike Tomlin is there and he'll be able to get the best out of Jalen Carter. If the Bears draft him, then they really believe in their infrastructure to help out a young man who can use some help, which a lot of young people can do. I'm not trying to put him on blast for the zillionth time, but it would speak to the Bears feeling like they have an organization that is ready to take on a guy like Jalen who's going to need some extra attention.
Yeah, I'd push back on 2 things, I think, a little bit. I mean, injury prone is not something I've heard about Jalen Carter. He has you got to be careful sometimes with the injuries because it's like, is a guy prone to injury or is he in the trenches battling through injury and playing through it?
Right.
And sometimes it gets to the point where you literally are not cleared by the trainer because you have that bad of an MCL sprain. Missed 2 games with an MCL and still played the rest of the year?
With knowing that he's
that sounds like a guy who wants to be out there fighting through injury.
Right.
At least to me. That's my perspective.
Jackson Smith and Jigma took an entire yeyear off because of a hamstring.
I did not use the word injury prone. I'm just saying.
No, I know, but I'm just pushing back on any concern that might be.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's in his game log, but I haven't heard that being like a real problem. The other thing is, and I don't think this. I'm not pushing back on you at all, but maturity issues. I like how Dane Brugler's been phrasing this. He did it again yesterday in Hogan Johns. That's how he puts it in The Beast. He's a young player.
Okay.
No, but that because
go ahead.
To me there is a difference. Maturity issues is like, he's failing to grow up. Like to me, maturity issues is like you're 30 and you still act like you're 20. When you're still 20. You're allowed to act like you're 20.
Yeah, but let me just throw one back at you just to push back a drop.
And by the way, he's 22, so
he had multiple speeding tickets. That wasn't the first time he was flying through. So he's getting one for going 80 and a 40, and then a little while later he's going 100, and tragedy strikes.
But Drew Rosenhaus said on HBO Real Sports he's not going to drive fast anymore.
Oh, well, okay. Great, Drew. Hey, that guy's good at his job. Congratulations. And he clearly just knows what to say to try to eliminate any doubt whatsoever. I should probably learn some of that
What I'm getting at, though, is essentially what these teams have to figure out. Like, is this guy going to have so he's young. He's 22, but he's still like a teenager. Okay.
Right.
So how big of it, but is he going to grow up? That's the question, right? And I don't know that any of us have the answer. I don't know if any of these teams have the answer. But to me, at this point, putting the whole thing together, which Ryan Poles said that they would be doing too, at the same exact time, I'm still willing to bet on him.
I don't even know what kind of car he was driving when he's racing these, but like
Jeep.
So Jeep,
yeah,
really.
Mm-hmm.
So because like to me, I think the other aspect of it, when you consider the college landscape and NIL. These players used to never be able to have money in their pocket or nice cars, and now you're a college kid and you have the access to that kind of stuff without getting in trouble. And that's going to speed up, the process of getting this life thrown at you. Georgia wins a national championship. He's the best player on the team. He's going to be taking top 10. He's getting all this money. I know when I get behind a fast car, I'm driving fast, especially when I was his age. I'll do it now. You put me in a hot rod car, I'll blow down the road 110 right now, and I'm 37. So, you're 19. I'm just telling you, it's the truth. So if you're 20 and you have that kind of car, you're going to do it. I mean, I'm sorry. Tariq Cohen pulled up to training camp in that 3-wheeler car speeding, right? And the coaches got mad at him. It's happened before. A former linebacker here that was one of the best outside linebackers Bears history left a Lambo on the side of the highway. I mean, you get behind a hot rod car. Sometimes you do hot rod things. I mean, I'm not excusing the behavior. I just am with Hoge that as far as like drafting him, the bigger issue, because I think he'll grow up from those kind of maturity decisions is, does he love the game? Because we went down this road with Eddie Goldman, who's a very talented interior defensive lineman, and get him from Florida State in the second round, right? We're like, oh, what a steal. And there was always this question of whether or not he loved the game, and then he stepped away from it.
It's a good point in bringing up Eddie Goldman, but I also want to remind you, there's 2 cameras right there. This is also going to the audio world, and your mother is watching, and now she's saying, don't scare me with your 110. I'll go try one.
She knows. She knows better than she rides with me to half these games to Purdue. I got a speeding ticket last year going to Purdue.
All right, perhaps you might want to rethink that in your Oldsmobile and start driving a little more responsibly.
No.
Barbara, I'm going to work on this with your son, who's older than Jalen Carter. And dude, I'm not saying that he's not allowed to grow. He absolutely is, and I support the Bears taking him if they do. I do. Go ahead. If you guys think you can handle it, I will support it 100%.
Real quick, I do have a poll going in the chat that says, would you draft Jalen Carter if he falls to number 9? Currently, about 100 votes in here, and yes is at 71%. So we'll see how that thing goes. Make a Fish threw us a super chat. We could address this now. We kind of did yesterday. Anyone polls, he says, anyone polls still eyeing in free agency trade back to fill the tackle DN 3 tech to narrow down the first round selection. Hashtag Team Hoagie. Hashtag Team Crags, not Fishman. I feel like we addressed this yesterday. Free agency sort of on the back burner. So.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to see much movement in free agency or trades until post-draft. There's it just doesn't make a lot of sense for anyone, really.
Yeah, for the teams or the players.
Right? Like, if you're a player, we talked about this yesterday. We'll just address it quickly and move on. But, like, I don't want to sign with a team right now that a week from now could draft my replacement. I want to wait till after the draft, see which teams still have a hole. Yeah. And, by the way, those teams are going to be more willing than to pay you when they still have that hole in the draft is over. If I'm a right tackle right now and the Bears are interested in me, why would I sign there when they could draft Paris Johnson next week? But if they don't, and their only option is they draft, they end up drafting somebody in the 5th round, now I'm a plug and play. I'm probably coming in there right now, and they're probably going to pay me a little bit more money.
And depending how the draft falls out for teams, aren't there going to be surprise cuts for those positions?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right, we'll keep going. We spent a lot of time there on Jalen Carter, but for good reason. We got plenty of other guys to talk about here with these defensive tackles. But want to make sure you know Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. Get tons of compliments on and off the course. Speaking of off the course, that was today.
Yeah.
Try not to spill your
my
coffee here.
Go ahead there, buddy.
But we got little Pins and Aces right here.
This is impressive.
I like it. It's
what
sharp.
happened here, so they have awesome shirts like this, and it's very, feel this.
Oh, I know they're
the quality's
great.
great.
Put that on my face. That was amazing.
Yeah, right. And see, when I first walked in here with this today,
Jesus.
Clip that.
See, Carm told me I couldn't pull this off when I walked in here. Casey said that she loved it. And then I put it on, and then Carm was actually like, it looks pretty good.
Can we get a vote in the chat here? Could Hoge actually pull that shirt off?
Come on, look at this. Lawrence, we need the camera on me.
Oh, so. Yeah, sorry. I was just doing other things over here.
Wear this on the golf course? This is great.
I mean, that's...
You could wear it, and it would distract your opponents.
If we get to 100 likes here, I'll wear it the rest of the show.
There we go.
Regardless, I love this shirt. I am going to wear it on the golf course, whether you guys make me wear it right now or not. But Pins and Aces, they got much more than just shirts, pants, hoodies, golf bags, tees. You know the scene in Happy Gilmore with the cracker as like the that he uses as the ball marker, and then the caddy picks it up and eats it because he's like the homeless guy?
Yeah.
That also came with this shirt. That's my new ball markers, the cracker.
That's big.
Not a literal cracker, obviously.
Say,
it's a metal heavy ball marker, but in the shape of the Happy Gilmore cracker.
I ordered a sweet hoodie from Pins and Aces. I'm fired up for it.
Now, will you wear a T-shirt over that hoodie?
It's my look, 90s look.
That's my look. They are a family-owned golf and apparel business. Amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and our favorite beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keep drinks cold the entire round. I also sell there's a seltzer sleeve now, so if you're more of the seltzer kind of guy, they fit 7 seltzers.
Yeah, a couple high noons when you're on the course.
Ooh. It's not my look, but good for you.
Check out pinsandaces.com. Use code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Personally, I would put 7 Goose Islands right in there.
There we go. Well, that's a plan.
Wow, we got the 91 likes pretty fast. I think I'm going to end up having to wear this shirt.
Coming.
I want you to wear it.
If we get to 150, perhaps, Barbara, you might have to log off. Greg will talk about his sex life because guys do want to get a much better sex life. Greg, do you want to have a better sex life?
I mean, I'm always striving for greatness.
That's exactly right. 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting to enjoy your sex to the premium level of your sex life. Don't worry, buddy. You're not alone out there, but Roman is coming in to help you too, Adam Hoge. Digital health clinic for you, Lawrence. It helps men addressing a variety of sexual health needs. And by the way, Carm, you're in this too. Offering genuine medication that it can help achieve, maintain that strong, powerful erection that you're looking for. That's right. We really, honestly, our favorite. We want to say thank you to Roman, who offers discreet whites that 4 times longer in bed. Jenny would be so happy there, Greg brags. By the way, if you got low T, getting testosterone levels back to normal, that can help increase your libido. Roman's got a testosterone test, which includes lab processing if it is appropriate for you, so they're going to hook you up that way too. And yes, some people are not as comfortable talking about this as I am, Barbara, with Roman. So there is no waiting rooms, no hassle. You could go for the straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your own home, which is beautiful. You don't even have to tell your mother that you're having some problems, like perhaps Greg is having.
Get out of the show, Mom.
Yep, medication, testing, appropriate for Roman. They'll send it directly to your door, Brags. Everything arrives at the discrete packaging that your wife won't even know that you are getting some testing to perhaps.
Stop talking to my mom and during this
free 2-day shipping. Don't worry about it, Barbara. It's all out there now. Hey, listen, for everybody else out there, to learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals.
She said she turned off the volume.
Go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your first order. That's ro.co/CHGO. Brags, do it now.
Oh, my God.
Roman!
I love Roman.
I mean, just to recap, you were talking about Braggs' mother.
To Braggs' mother.
During that ad while I was over on the side here changing.
Yeah.
The whole thing was really awkward.
Yeah.
I felt
Hoge's shirt's off. Carm's reading
Well, Carm got me in the mood with that Roman read.
The Roman read to
just,
my mom.
Just get involved with Roman. They're awesome.
Out of
one of our favorite people. Should we move it on to number 2?
Yeah, but we got to 100 likes. Appreciate it.
Can we go for 200?
Yeah, I was gonna say it stopped like so. It was like hit the brakes right at 100, but we can get to 200. I think.
Let's go for a 2.
People are digging the shirt. Pinsandaces.com. I think it looks great. I'd probably wear it with navy pants though going forward. I'm realizing that on screen right now, but I wasn't really planning on wearing it today. So thank you, Nick. See, my guy Nick is in there. Shirt looks good. He's gonna have his on the happy hour tonight, which I hope all our diehards are gonna be at the happy hour tonight, 8:00. We'll send the link out to the diehards later on today, so you can find that. It's going to be a good time.
Before we move on,
yes.
Adam Westby also said the shirt looks dope, and he also, there's a $2 super chat to address to Carm. He says, I forgive you for the Forte disrespect, XOXO.
I need to address that for a second because when we were talking about, the topic was if you could go back in time and watch a Chicago Bear that you've just really missed, who would you pick?
Yes.
And, it was
Hester.
Hester and Walter and Gale, and I threw in a McMahon
Butkus.
for the punky QB, a Butkus. And then Nick comes in here with his Matt Forte take, who was a great, efficient player.
Yeah,
but like, come on, man.
Really, of the one guy in the franchise you want to see play again?
I have your back 100%.
Like the third or fourth
I'm
best
not going
running
back in time to watch Matt Forte pick up 4 yards. I'm sorry. And I know that he did it very well, and some people, ESPN rated him the top Bear in the 2010s. I'm not saying he wasn't a good player.
Great player.
I ain't going back in time to watch Matt Forte.
I also think that there's like a sort of a statute of limitations. Like, if Matt Forte was your guy, that's cool. But, like, he only retired, like, 7 years ago. If like, there was a hardcore Neil Anderson fan out there who was like, yeah, Neil Anderson's my answer, I'd be like, okay, I can respect that.
Yeah.
Neil Anderson was awesome.
Yeah, I can respect that. It was like, Matt Forte, it's like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
There's no disrespect to Matt Forte at all. I did enjoy the conversation that it spun off, which was just the random Bulls players we could name from the 90s.
That was good.
Yes, and he couldn't name Ron Harper. Monty threw us a $4.99 and said, Roman really watched a CHGO Bears pod, saw Cram, and said, yep, that's our ambassador.
Roman!
I would love that role, but I got to tell you, who's the guy in Phoenix that does or PHNX that does our Roman reads?
It's Espo, right?
No, it's Petey from the Coyotes.
He's got me.
Oh, that's right.
He's got me beat. That guy's unbelievable.
You should look those up.
He is really good at those reads.
Yeah.
I will give him that. Also, before we move on to the next guy, Mark Gauthier, our dude from England. $10. Thank you, Mark. Got my second-year diehard membership box with the CHGO Skyline tee. Wish I could attend the party. We'll be viewing the live stream. B&B will be open soon. Easingwold, England, and you are invited brick by brick. Is Easingwold anywhere near London? I don't think it is it?
All right, I'm looking this up because he's mentioned it a million times
Let's
now.
go.
You think
Mark,
I know where
brick by
Easingwold,
brick.
England is?
Saw somebody else in the chat say they picked up their brick by brick shirt. Hoge was wearing it yesterday.
Yeah, I regretted it, but yeah, I did.
Don't regret it. Just embrace it.
I love it. I'm going to wear it tonight for the old happy hour.
Yoshino, $2 says, can't stop watching that TD run in London, though. I assume that's a Matt Forte reference?
Yep, against the Bucks. It was a nice cutback. Yeah.
Good cutback.
Really nice.
Easingwold is nowhere near London. It is north of Sheffield, north of Manchester, north of Leeds.
Oof, it's north.
It is north of York.
Oh, gosh. It might even be Welsh.
It is up there.
Yeah.
Easingwold.
Well, I don't think
looks like beautiful country land though.
If there's any chance of us going to see the Cubs in London, I don't think we're staying at Mark's B&B. So,
I mean,
darn.
The Cubs are going to clinch in that when they beat the Cardinals in London?
No.
Well, those Cubbies there, Hoge. Dylan, if your shirt doesn't come up,
Cubs, go.
There it is. I'll deliver a brick by brick shirt to you, signed by Bragg. So let us know if you're having trouble with that.
They're all signed by Braggs.
Can we continue on now with number 2 on our board?
Absolutely. I cannot wait for this guy.
The ACC Defensive Player of the Year, the Florida native, and then Pitt Panther. He needed help changing his tires for winter conditions when he left the South for Pitt, but he did learn how to do it, and of course he's hoping to follow in the footsteps of Pitt standout Aaron Donald. Kalijah Kancey gets credit for being, like Karate Kid's Mr. Miyagi with his wax-on, wax-off hands. R.I.P., by the way, to Pat Morita. Danielson, sweep the leg. Who didn't have a crush, by the way, on Elizabeth Shue? I know you did, Bragg, so you probably didn't see that movie because you don't watch older movies. Karate Kid's a good one. Back to Kancey, who is short, stubby, and his arms shorter than Peter Skoronski's, less than 31 inches. I mean, this guy's got some short arms, but he does have the dirty.
What kind of an intro is short and stubby?
That's what they call it. That's how they call him.
He has the shortest arms. What was it? The shortest arms of any defensive tackle drafted in the last 10 years.
I mean, this guy's got. He's got nothing, but somehow he gets it done. He's got the dirty swim move, Braggs, that'll make quarterbacks shake in their boots. Number 2 on our interior defensive lineman board, a Corey Wooten favorite. Let's not forget that, Kalijah Kancey.
Yeah, Corey Wooten had the moment of all draft prep moments, I feel like, this year, when at the Combine he said, and I quote, Kalijah Kancey, the best 3 technique in the draft that is not Jalen Carter, which at the time was like, whoa. As it turns out, he's number 2 on our list behind Jalen Carter. So that's it. The more I watched him, the more I liked him. The more I don't really care about the arm length. He's playing inside. He is a prototypical 3 technique who uses his leverage. It sucks that I hate comparisons a lot of the time, but also they're very helpful just to paint a picture. No one's saying he's Aaron Donald. I don't think there's a single person out there who believes he's going to be as good as Aaron Donald. But you have the pick connection. You had the fact that he is shorter in stature, and I will always go back to one of the most significant football moments I can remember, honestly, as I learned more about how to, because I'm definitely not a professional scout, don't want to be a professional scout, but you start to learn how to watch these guys. I'll never forget Aaron Donald at Senior Bowl practices. Because there's this guy, and they're like, he's kind of a second-round pick maybe. He's very interesting, but he's so short. And I'm out there watching these practices, and I'm like, he is getting under and through all these linemen that are taller than him. He's using it to his advantage because it's a leverage point. And I see that same thing with Kalijah Kancey. He uses that smaller stature to gain leverage and beat these guys, and he penetrates the gap over and over again. He is exactly what the Bears need in a 3 technique if they don't end up with Jalen Carter. Now, how he will hold up against the run at the next level, certainly I think he's going to be – that's where Aaron Donald, I think, is going to be superior in many ways, because Aaron Donald just doesn't really matter where you put him. He's going to hold up against the run and the pass. I think ideally you have your true stud 1 technique there next to Kalijah Kancey, and you're talking about a great front 4. But I still like him a lot. I just don't know. He's not going to be there at 53. Seems like a little bit of a reach at 9. So to me, a Kalijah Kancey becoming a Bear is more of a they end up trading back situation and get him a little bit later.
Well, that's why I hope they do trade back, because, if we're going to talk about the risks of Jalen Carter, fine. If we're able to get multiple picks this year, or God forbid somehow end up getting another future first-round pick to move back from 9 to 17 or 19. Now guys like this and some of these other guys that we're going to talk about, to me, make a lot of sense. To Kalijah Kancey, you see it on, the highlights. I'm not going to say I'm watching the tape, but I've watched his highlights, and I know everybody has no one has a bad highlight reel, but this guy is, he's crazy. I seen somebody describe him as a Tasmanian devil, and you can see it. Just if you want to talk about who embodies the hits philosophy, he's nonstop, just a menace. And you watch him going around on stunts, and this dude just gets through and makes plays. To me, if they move back and he's there and he's the guy the Bears take, I'm going to be really excited.
You can have bad tape, too, for the record, bad highlight tape. You can just you get credit for a second, oh, well, he really wasn't the one that did that. You don't see that when you're watching him. And I got super excited about him. I don't know, whatever it was, a month, time flies, whenever Woot started leaning into him.
Well, remember that he said that, and then the same day, later that day, Kancey ran his 40. Yeah. And ran a 4.67, which broke Aaron Donald's record for defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And it was wow.
And let me just say that the thing that's interesting to me about Donald when you look at Kancey, and I'm not comparing the two at all outside of the fact they both went to Pitt, but when I first met Aaron Donald in person at the Super Bowl in Miami, he was at some off-site thing where he was driving a tractor, and it was him and a wide receiver for Baltimore who just got traded.
This started as a flex, and then there's a tractor involved, and I'm not sure it's a flex anymore.
Are you talking about Hollywood Brown now?
Hollywood Brown. Yeah. So it was him, Aaron Donald, Hollywood Brown, and Carm all hanging out. But so Donald,
sounds like a great trio.
Donald walks up. I'm like, who is that guy? He does not look like the number 1 defensive tackle in the history of the NFL. I mean, it's just he doesn't look the part, and it's sort of like when I'm trying to get I'm reading everything. He's short, he's stubby. How the hell is this guy going to do it? Well, I don't know how he's going to do it, but he does it. That's where you got to get to with Kancey.
I want to give Nick a shout out too, because he's been doing a lot of work on these guys, and this is all in our draft database, so check it out. But just reading because there's a lot of notes in here. But Nick's summary on Kalijah Kancey, damn near unblockable in his dominant performance against Virginia, regardless of the offensive lineman he faced. He went up against each member of the line. Kancey found ways to win his matchups, burst off the line of scrimmage, swim move, push and pull technique, rip move, relentless effort. It was all on full display in his 3 total tackles, 3 sack game. And then he goes into a full play-by-play breakdown that you're not going to get anywhere else. So Nicholas Moreano with all the information in our draft profile on Kalijah Kancey available to CHGO.
Let me just give one play. He did it in his highest rated game versus Virginia, where PFF Pro Football Focus has him rated 90.3. Nick says, starting off hot, absolutely destroys left guard. Great hands. Uses a jump, chop, club move like Robert Quinn and Aaron Donald. He fights through a hole in the QB's face as he's throwing a pass that's picked off for pick 6 on the first play of the game. You can't get a better breakdown than what Nicholas Moreano gives you. And by the way, I did call up Nick and said, hey, Nick, you did all this work. You want to talk about these guys today? He's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I keep hearing, when I read through different people that break down all of his tape, not just the 1-minute highlight reels, is his hand usage and the different
wax
things.
On, wax off.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
So,
man.
And then the other thing that I heard about him that I know you take a lot of stock in, Carm, you've talked about during the season when you're interviewing these guys in the locker room, is conditioning, and he is a rock. From what people explain, which is Aaron Donald-esque. I mean, he's a rock as well. So I like hearing that. That shows, the commitment to his work ethic that he has.
Show me sand to floor.
Show you what?
That's a reference.
Who hasn't seen The Karate Kid? Have you seen The Karate Kid?
I've seen The Karate Kid.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yes, I've seen The Karate Kid.
In the 90s, I watched The Karate Kid.
Yeah. The show, the reboot, started out pretty funny first couple seasons and then just went
Never watched
way
that.
off the rails. So you can watch the first couple seasons. It's pretty good. You even get an Elizabeth Shue moment.
What was it? The putt and go? What was it? Where did they go where's the Friday night date? When he pulled up in the yellow car.
I don't know.
Anthony Richardson falls to 9.
Oh boy.
Bears trade down.
The Bears trade back to 19, get a future first-round pick. Now they have 3 first-round picks next year.
Take Kalijah
and then
Kancey.
draft Kalijah Kancey at 19.
Done. Totally done. I'm in.
And Ryan
You in?
Poles.
Yeah.
Okay, there it
We
is.
build the statue of Ryan Poles this year.
You just build it right now.
All right, Edward the First, super chat. He says, I get I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald talk, but weren't people saying the same about Aaron Donald back in the draft? Bears not trading up for him was the biggest mistake of that regime.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing was, though, there wasn't really an Aaron Donald to compare Aaron Donald to. I mean, that almost made it worse because it was like he's too small. I'm like, I don't know. I watched this, and eventually, he worked his way up to getting picked 14th, but he probably should have gone first. I'm not remembering that off the top of my head who went first in 2014, but yes, the Bears infamously had an opportunity to trade up and take Aaron Donald. They did not. The Rams did. And the Bears got Kyle Fuller, who ended up being a pretty solid pick, but obviously not Aaron Donald.
That was Clowney first.
He was good.
Greg Robinson. Anybody? Blake Bortles, 3 to Jacksonville. Sammy Watkins, 4th to Buffalo. Khalil Mack, 5th to Oakland. Jake Matthews, 6th to Atlanta. Mike Evans, 7th to Tampa. Justin Gilbert, anybody? 8th to Cleveland. Anthony Barr, 9th to Minnesota. Eric Ebron,
Gilbert.
10th to Detroit.
Wide receiver, Oklahoma State.
Anthony Barr was a linebacker.
Justin
UCL.
Gilbert.
Oh,
Cornerback from
defensive
Oklahoma
back.
State.
Yeah.
Wrong
Too many
side
people
of the ball.
talking right now.
Sorry. Eric Ebron, Taylor Lewan, Odell went 12th to the Giants, and then Donald 13th to St. Louis, and then we took Fuller 14th.
That's right. The Bears had the 14th pick.
Yeah.
I had a draft party that night, and when we didn't get Aaron Donald, the party ended. I was that upset.
Well, our party is not going to end no matter what next week.
Did you really
Hopefully
end the
see
party?
it.
I was not happy. And then people were like, oh, relax, Braggs. I can remember my one buddy, that's exactly what he said. Relax, Braggs. It's not a big deal. I'm like, it literally is the biggest deal in the world.
Wow, you knew. That's
The
impressive.
biggest deal in the world. As big as climate change.
Couple quick little
that
supers I
before
want to rip
Bragg was
through.
It's his biggest climate.
Jaden, 499. Thank you, Jaden. Maybe a hot take, but I don't mind Kancey at 9. Bears need a good 3-tech, and he's very dominant. What if he's one of Poles' blue chippers?
Well, if he's Aaron Donald, he certainly won't hate him at 9. Just all those names you read off. Aaron Donald should have been the first pick. Khalil Mack should have been the second pick, probably. That's if you're going to do a redraft of those guys. So, yeah, look, if he ends up being great, 9th, whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Let me ask you this one last question with Kancey is
12:51.
One last question, real quick. Is
I've been trying to get to the ad read for like 5 minutes.
I apologize. Is just take if he ends up Aaron Donald, anybody would take Aaron Donald. But size-wise, is that the kind of fit of an Eberflus system? Like just the size?
Yeah, I don't think that's what are you about to do?
Well, do we need
Yeah. Do this. Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
We've had that queued up for like a month and a half.
I love it.
That's a Bragg's break-in.
Yeah.
I love it.
When Bragg just breaks through the bricks to derail what we were going to do next.
I'm sorry. Well, I just think of, like Keith Traylor and Ted Washington types, in the 4-3 defense, the big take on all these blockers so the linebackers can roam.
Can you play that one more time?
And then you got the little guy. Yeah, do it again.
Of course we can play that again. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been here in 2 weeks, so we'll do this show for 2 hours.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think anyone minds.
I got places to be. All right. Because when I get out of here, I'm going to go put on my Shady Rays. It's a nice, sunny afternoon. We take on the sun with gear built to last because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for warm weather with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures, and that's not all because they offer the most insane protection of all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. They also, with their customers, provide much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair, return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk at all when you shop. Their team always has your back. This is exclusive for our listeners right now. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
And seriously, if you haven't gotten your Shady Rays by now, Barbara, it's so much better to look at your son with Shady Rays on. Seriously, you should just lob it in. Let's go. And if you lose them, they hook you up. All right. Hey, Braggs, by the way, the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, it's committed, did you know this, to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve. They're helping you manage your energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future, my friend.
Yeah. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
It does actually sound like a brick-by-brick process. Can you tell me exactly how it works?
I can. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today.
Like it.
For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment,
where?
Go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
On the field, did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
Yes, I did. Schedule it today, Cram.
Shout out to Jim Rebounds. Who was the former Bears PA guy? There is a timeout.
Where?
On the field. Jim.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I should. But yes, that wasn't that long ago either.
No, he retired I think about 5. Well, he
Not even. It was like 3 years.
And he didn't retire, by the way. He got pushed out about 5 years ago. I interviewed him at the time, and I was like, "I'm really sad you're retiring." He goes, "Well, I'm not retiring. They fired me." I'm like, "Well, I'm really upset. Bring him back. We should have him. Can we hire him at CHGO? There's a show where on the set, something like that. Wouldn't that be good?"
Yeah, Tim Sinclair doing stuff for us.
Well, Tim needs a day off. Why can't we have Jim in here too?
Can we get Gene Hunt as well? Let's get Gene.
Oh, Gene.
And we've also had Jeremy Peprocki in here in a while.
Yeah, that was awesome. And no disrespect to Gene, but Gene's got literally every gig. He doesn't need another one.
Oh yeah.
That is every.
Yeah, but Gene calling out Jonathan Taves for the one last time last week.
Jonathan
tugged at my Jonathan.
Yeah.
Number 35, Frank Thomas.
That's the one that'll always stick in my head. All right, back to the draft board.
Yes, rising up the draft boards faster than Greg Bragg sinks in a pool. Word on the street.
That's it. Taking this drink. You get it back.
Oh, God, it's been a good day. Word on the street, that's 7 years old. Word on the street is that Eagles general manager Howie Roseman, that's right, the general manager that many think is the best in the NFL, he absolutely loves Adetomiwa Adebawore, who wowed at the combine with a 4.49 40, which is almost as fast as his hands move, whipping offensive linemen out of the way. Adebawore's played all over that D-line. Just a reminder, 449 snaps on the edge, 263 on the interior for the Northwestern Wildcats. The only D-lineman in the draft to have graduated with a psychology degree who both understands himself and his competitors. That's right indeed. One more time. The Northwestern Wildcat, who was spotted jumping up and down when the Wildcats beat then number 1 Purdue, who of course went on to lose to Fairleigh Dickinson. Adetomiwa Adebawore, number 3 on our interior defenseman.
Well, now I don't want him.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Just like that.
Wow.
Literally one of the most fascinating prospects ever, because you're supposed to be weary of the players that are rising up draft boards because of everything they've done since January.
Right, and that's him.
And yet I just still love this guy.
Right.
But we've had the benefit of watching him a little bit closer with the ties to Northwestern. He is a local prospect in that regard. But I did find it very interesting hearing from people at Northwestern who were like, a few months ago, we are getting feedback that he had undraftable grades from some teams. That doesn't mean all teams, but some teams were like, yeah, we'd like to see this guy go back to school for one more year, and he could really benefit from that. And instead, he's aced every part of he's had the exact opposite draft season that Jalen Carter has had. He has blown away every workout, every interview he's done. He looks like a perfect 3 technique for the Bears, and there are flashes. It's not like his tape sucks. Like, there are plenty of flashes on his tape. I was watching the Ohio State tape a few weeks ago. Very first play, he draws a hold. And there's no questions on his work ethic. There's no questions on his love for football. He's very coachable. He's smart as hell. And so in terms of, like, projecting where he might take all these tools that you're now seeing as he literally set records at the NFL Combine with his athleticism.
Yep.
And it's like, there's no question that when he comes in there on day one, he's going to get better. He
is everything you want as far as the hits principle with the Bears. He at the positional versatility on the D-line, which hurt him perhaps, at least leading into the combine, could be an asset down the line. Although I do think he would be a 3 tech for the Bears, but maybe perhaps they would like that as somebody with some versatility if things did not work out perfectly for Adebawore. And I
think he's a 3 technique
all day.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fair, but he's been all over the place.
But I think that's part of the problem.
Agreed.
I think he needs to specialize in being a 3 technique. I think if the Bears draft him, that's what they do with him, and I think he can be very, very good at it.
Yes, Braggs? Before I give one more breakdown
and you
here.
guys were closer to it, so you're saying they lined him up everywhere this year too.
Yes.
And not just throughout his career.
He lined up more on the outside.
Because the reason I asked that is, some of the stats from last year, most solo sacks lining up at the 3 technique of players that are going to be drafted this year. Kalijah Kancey had 3. AA, as I'm going to call him here, had 2. Pressures from 3 techniques coming out in the draft this year. Kalijah Kancey and Jalen Carter both had 13 pressures from the 3 technique, and AA had 11. So, and this is a guy that didn't probably play as many snaps as those guys did at the 3 technique and still was able to get that kind of production. So
I can actually give you those comps, those numbers. So this is from Pro Football Focus. They have Tommy lining up in the B gap, 261 snaps, and outside the tackle, so more as a defensive end, 374 snaps. Right. Only twice in the A gap, so not really used all the way inside. But primary, he was used as in that 3 technique B gap spot, or most of the time outside the tackle. Now, their grades on him in those 2 spots are virtually identical, but I think at the next level he projects better as a 3 technique. Now, you mentioned Jalen Carter and Kalijah Kancey, right?
Right.
So Jalen Carter's in the B gap 255 times, and while he was used all over, that's the next closest was 83 over the tackle. So he was primarily 255 snaps in the B gap, which is about the same as Adetomiwa overall.
Okay. But still, similar production.
Yep.
And to me, I'm seeing some people having him in the late first round. I've heard Howie Roseman, who's Carm's buddy, is in love with him, is something I've been hearing and reading. So I don't know if I'm gonna reach in the mid first round, but if he's there in the second round, or if the Bears are able to get an additional second round pick that's early in the second round and he's there, yeah, I'd be all over it, especially if they haven't addressed that need, obviously.
For the record, Kancey, 358 snaps in the B gap.
Right, so a lot more, right?
A lot more. So
highly unlikely that he'll be there at 53, if not impossible at this point. Maybe he goes even in the first round. One thing behind the scenes here that I'm 99% certain that Woot said on the show, and if not, even if he didn't, I don't think I'm talking out of turn. I mean, those 2 talked. He called up Corey and wanted to get feedback on how he best should go about going into the combine and doing it. And Woot told him exactly what he thought he should do, and the dude went and absolutely crushed it. So for whatever that's worth, this is just a guy that believed in himself, did not have the best year. Northwestern won 1 football game last year. It was obviously super frustrating. Adebawore was the leader in their weight room. He had a huge presence leading over there. And, I think on some level, outside of the fact that he felt he was ready, I think the losing might have actually taken a toll on him, too, in his decision.
All right, we got 2 more guys we got to get through. So we'll fire through them.
You want to not do intros?
I think we need to do intros.
We need to do. Okay.
I don't want to hear you talk about them. Just want to hear the intro.
No.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Well, all right. With our number 4 guy, the talent is huge, but the injuries are the concerns for Bryan Bresee. Potential boom or bust draft prospect out of Clemson. ACL tear, strep throat, kidney infection. Don't forget the sprained shoulder, to name a few of his ailments. But let's not forget multiple high school championships. He was a member. You love him. You know him. The Swarm and Hornets, Damascus High School. Bresee is Big E, 6'5.5", 300 plus pounds. The frame comes from Dad Richie, who was a guard at James Madison, and Mom Megan, who was a college hooper at some school I've never heard of. Oh, by the way, it was Frederick Community College. Word on the street is that Frederick could actually beat Purdue. The talented, banged up, coming back to get you and dominate, Bryan Bresee, Clemson, ladies and gentlemen, number 11.
Yeah, so of all the guys we are talking about in our top 5, this is the one that I have more concerns about than the other ones.
He is a lot of injuries, man.
Yeah, well, there's also, to me, where he fits within the Bears scheme, too. So, but yeah, no question he's a huge guy. I think the hype sort of outweighs the productivity, though. Definitely teams are going to have a medical designation on him, I believe. You're talking about torn ACL, dealt with a shoulder injury last year. And I just look at him, and I'm like, this to me, this looks more like a guy the Bears would have had as a 5 technique in the previous 3-4 defense under Vic Fangio and Sean Desai than somebody you're going to come in and try to plug in as your 3 technique or even a 1 technique within this defense. So I'm not sure he's the best fit for the Bears. Others in our crew here, because this is a collaborative effort, like him more than me, so he's still on the board, and he is ranked 4th. I think there are teams, 3-4 teams, that'll have him much higher than we do. That's part of the reason why we have him 4th behind Adetomiwa, because I think the fit there. And but I will say this, this guy's been through a lot the last couple years. Not only did he tear his ACL, but way worse than that, he lost his 15-year-old sister to cancer just last September. So this is a guy who's battled through a ton of adversity personally, and not wavering in with all that going on, I think is very, very impressive. So at the end of the day, I think a team is going to get a pretty solid player here for what they do defensively. Since this is a Bears board, I'm struggling to go all in for the fit with the Bears.
The injuries are just a huge concern for me. You barely got through your college career, and it's one thing if you just have an ACL thing. It's another thing if it's just bothering your shoulder. It's another thing if you have health issues. Like, those things just don't evaporate. Now, that being said, I mean, Bruler's got him number 2. I mean, this is an enormous talent. So if you are betting, if you were just like lining him up and there was no health thing, you could even make an argument that. I guess you can't go quite that far with Carter, but he's right there. I don't think that this would be. I would not make this pick in anywhere close to.
Well, in 2020, he was the number 1 recruit.
Right. I mean, this is
in the
enormous
whole country.
Enormous talent. Enormous.
Ahead of Bryce Young. So I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. There's a ton of talent to work with here. Unless you got something you want to pop in, let's go to the next guy.
All right. We're just making this all about Adam Hoge here because this man followed in the footsteps of Adam Hoge, roaming the streets of Madison. That's right. He started out.
I hope he was not following in my footsteps.
Well, now
the streets of Madison.
I've got him fully
I
following.
Hope he was in the weight room and on the football field.
Well, he didn't start in
and
South.
Not hanging out at KK and Wando's.
But you were like the minute you got there, you got yourself in the radio and journalistic and everything.
Okay.
You were ready to go. This guy did leave South Chicago for Janesville, Wisconsin. He might have used his 81-inch plus wingspan to fly himself there. A 4-year starter, a man who came in with a purpose, and perhaps maybe the most Hoge-like dude who could become a Bear. We're talking about 6'3.5". We're talking about 312 pounds. We're talking about our 5th-ranked player coming from the Badgers, Keanu Benton.
Yeah, versatile guy. Probably more so than these other guys we've talked about. Could probably do both the 1 technique and 3 technique. I think there's others I would prefer as my full-time 3 technique within the Bears defense, but I still think Keanu Benton, perhaps, with one of those later second-round picks, could still give the Bears a lot of value. He, like I said, he's versatile. Unlike some of these other guys, he can fit multiple schemes. Like if a 3-4 team drafted him, he's probably fine there. Turn on the Senior Bowl practices, he absolutely was dominating. Very, very good against the run. Probably not quite as consistent shooting gaps, to create pressure against the pass, but he certainly still got that in his toolbox, and just a constant high motor, change of direction. One comp, I want to say Louis Riddick brought this up during the Senior Bowl coverage, and I really liked it. But Chris Jones was the comp, and I definitely could see that. So very good player in Keanu Benton, comes in at 5th.
2 reps versus Peter Skoronski is in Nick's notes for anybody who's wondering about that matchup. A little Badger on Badger on Cat, and his highest grade this past year was against the Badgers. Matched up on him after running a twist stalemate at the line of scrimmage. One red left to an incomplete pass, the other a short completion over the middle of the field.
A lot of Badgers had good games that week.
Yeah, it was a rough week for the.
Yeah, I definitely think he fits the hits philosophy, the way he plays the game. I watched some film of him playing against John Michael Schmitz, who a lot of Bears fans want. And he was giving him the business. So, that's a high prospect coming out. And he seemed business. He was giving him the business. Another thing, and I know Carm likes his little notes. Apparently he was, you always bring up these interesting notes about guys from their past.
I do. Carm likes his little notes.
I didn't say it like that.
Carm's 70.
Apparently he was a stud wrestler. So,
You guys are cute.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
He's still mad at me about the Twitter.
You guys are like the old Muppets that just bicker.
Well, he's the old Muppet.
Statler and Waldorf.
Slightly younger.
Yeah, those guys.
So,
those guys. Them guys.
I love those guys.
So, I like this guy as a potential option. I mean, where would you say? Second round?
Yes.
64.
Yeah. We have a second round grade on him in our Bears 100.
I like him. Don't love, but
we
I
have
do
him
like
39th overall right now.
It's a flowing situation that we have in our top 100. We had a great meeting yesterday. There were some pictures that came out of it. Hoge was
also some videos that couldn't be posted.
That was unfortunate, but it was a good time, and we're still finalizing our top 100, which I'm battling everybody out here. And I'm just going to put it on the record one more time. Holton Ahlers.
Oh, God.
Holton Ahlers. Do you know what it is, Braggs? No?
It's 113.
No. He'll be a left-handed quarterback from East Carolina.
Who do you love more, Bijan Robinson or Holton Ahlers?
Well, you don't address my super chat yesterday. I wanted to hear your breakdown of Bijan Robinson, but we'll do that. I'll get to hear that tomorrow when you guys break down running backs.
That's true. Good lean in for tomorrow's show. I'm just telling you, Holton Ahlers is going to be the next Brock Purdy, who right now the San Francisco 49ers apparently are going to make their starting quarterback and looking to trade Trey Lance. News of the day.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Although they're just fielding calls. They're not making calls, according to...
Yeah, but they wanted everybody to know that.
Yeah.
If the Niners offered Trey Lance for Aaron Rodgers, would the Packers take it? Would the Niners... I mean,
Rodgers has to be willing to go there.
Rodgers would love to play for the San Francisco 49ers.
I don't know. It's too close to his family.
Why would he love?
That was his childhood team.
Yeah, the team that passed on him.
I'm just telling you, and it's a cakewalk to a Super Bowl if you're on that team.
Not if Rodgers is your quarterback. If we haven't learned anything in the last decade.
Whoa.
Rodgers!
Are we sure, though? I don't think we know he would want to play for the 49ers.
Okay, maybe
I think
not.
he still holds the grudge over that whole thing.
Just waiting for something
8
to happen
days to
with
the draft.
Rodgers thing.
8 days to the draft, 8 days till something happens with Rodgers. It's got to happen before the draft, right?
A lot of super chats to get to. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, we got to go. What's up, Ravi? I see you, my man. Everybody else out there, too. Bert and Ernie, Crazy Ace. Crazy Ace, you better be there tonight.
That looks like Aaron Rodgers doesn't care about Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
Lawrence, you can mute their mics and just start.
All right, Doug.
He does
Van
look like
Dorn,
Aaron
our
Rodgers.
guy Doug, $20 super chat. Thank you, Doug. If your draft strategy doesn't get you guys who start ahead of Vildor, Borum, and especially Justin Jones, you failed. That's your goal. Agree or disagree?
I agree that yes.
Yes.
You should be drafting players that can start over those guys. I definitely agree. I think that is what they're trying to do.
I mean, Vildor's not really a starter, but you have valid points here, Doug.
Well, I think his point is none of those guys should be starting.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah. If anything, I think Justin Jones graded out as a low-end starter for me last year, but you should be striving for greatness, like Greg told you earlier in the show.
Roman Reed.
He does with Roman.
You're so great.
Speaking of Roman, Stephen Haynes throws $2. I believe those are British pounds. He says, plays bigger than his size. Now, I believe that was about Kancey, but it could have been about the Roman read. I don't remember. Sorry, I started that, and then I forgot to actually throw it up there. Thank you, Steven. Next up, Alex, $2. I just want us to get a 3-tech, don't care how. Seriously. Anyone else have?
Alex, I appreciate your desperation.
Yeah. We need a 3-tech.
I'm with you, man. Just
get us a 3-tech.
We've been talking about this for 2 years now. Get the guy.
Real cordless, $10. Thank you. BPA, best player available. You miss out on generational talent by drafting by needs. Let's win. Bear down.
Best player, you miss out on generational talent drafting by needs. I agree. I think Brian Poles agrees too.
All right. Remy threw us a $2.99er, and she says, do I have to download Zoom to get into the happy hour tonight?
I think so.
Yes.
Right?
It is a Zoom call.
It's a Zoom, and you have to actually do it in Zoom, right?
You do have to do it in Zoom.
You don't have to download Zoom, though, right? You can open it in your browser.
Yeah, I guess so. But, since the pandemic, I feel like everyone's sort of figured out
Just
Zoom
get your Zoom.
Yeah, just get the Zoom.
Get your Zoom on tonight. 8 o'clock, happy hour. It's going to be fun.
And Mark did follow up, and he threw us another $5 saying that it is a 2.5-hour train ride from Easingwold down to London, 15 minutes to York,
nice train ride.
and that he'll be in London for the Cubs-Cardinal series in late June.
I love a good train
I hope
ride.
that I will be too. We
a high-speed
shall
train or
see.
Just throw it out there, breaking news for anybody who lives in the Naperville, Aurora, DeKalb area. The Kane County Cougars are looking for pitch clock and stats operators if you are interested. So reach out to Kane County.
It's just like the weirdest human being of all time.
Hey, it's the end of the show, and I've got a great opportunity for somebody to get into minor league baseball.
I am grateful for Carm because he makes me look normal. It's true. I thank every day that you're in my life.
I love Wednesdays.
I really
Wednesdays are the
want to
best.
say something that I shouldn't say, so can we end the show?
Yeah, of course we can end the show.
All
It's
right.
probably time.
Lots of, just again though, Die Hard happy hour, 8 o'clock tonight. Grab some Goose Island. Come hang out with us. Draft party next week. Tickets starting at $60, and you get the CHGO Midway shirt that you're seeing there on your screen. If you can't see it, if you're listening to the podcast, go check out the CHGO
Trust
locker.
us, it's beautiful.
And you'll be getting that just by coming. And we have the premium drink package included. Our live shows are going on. Corey Wooten's going to be there. I texted Corey this morning. He's going to be giving us his top 5 D linemen, offensive linemen. We're going to have a ton of great. You're going to want to be there. We got some special things planned while we're there, and I can't wait. So make sure you're there next week. In the meantime, anything you want to ask us tonight in the happy hour, draft-wise, Roman-wise,
Yeesh.
it's all there for you. The happy hour.
Roman! Please come out tonight. I want to see you. And, yes, call the Cougars if you want to be a stats operator.
I hate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. That was directed at Carm. Everyone else, I'll talk to you tomorrow at noon.